I'm Ashton Addison from the Crypto Coin Show, and today on Blockchain Interviews with Brian Fanzo, digital futurist and big fanboy of Pepecoins. Fanzo, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here. Excited for the conversation.
Me too. I'm a big fan of Pepe the Frog, and I know this is a original story of Pepecoins. I'd love for you to kick it off for those they've probably seen Pepe or Pepe memes around, and they aren't familiar with the intricacies of how deep this actually goes. We can start with the original story, then we can dive into all the latest details after that.
Yeah, sure. So I just to be truthful, if you would have asked me a year ago, I wouldn't have had much of an understanding other than the meme itself and kind of what Matt Fury had kind of drawn out originally. But the team Pepecoin, who I'm a proud holder of, and I run weekly Twitter Spaces with that team, kind of with the community. That project actually, the team itself actually launched a layer one blockchain in 2016. So if you think about like the original, like they were in with Vitalik during the Ethereum kind of initial rollout there in Toronto, and all the things going on there. So the team's been around for a long while, launched a layer one. Of course, the meme went through its own kind of series of publicity, right? So it had some of the bad kind of, political kind of takeover and hijacked with it being associated with certain things. And so the team actually had to change the original ticker and then change it back. And then a lot of that kind of came to fruition as they were building kind of a true utility attached to the coin. And then around a year ago, or a little over a year ago now from this project, they were actually front run by the other Pepe, right? Which we kind of can refer to that one as the other one, which, they took the logo, took the exact same concepts, and front run it to the market. Now that project, run up to about a $3 billion market cap, even higher, I think at the moment. I'm not sure. I don't really pay attention to that one very much. But during that time, they were front run by, community members in the team, and the idea was stolen. And, they had a kind of a pivotal decision to make. Like, what do they do with that? I, for one, I don't think I would have done what they did, which they just decided, hey, we're going to out innovate. We're going to build a layer one blockchain focused on AI technology. And when people recognize that we're building a true utility associated with our, OG Pepe coin, that we'll kind of be able to flip what Pepe is out there, right? And so I actually didn't discover the project until December of last year. I'm a futurist. I have a decade in cybersecurity, decade traveling around the world. I've been to 76 countries, talking on different stages around emerging technology. So I love the technology side. And when I was first turned on to the coin, I actually laughed. And I was like, meme coin developers are developing an AI layer one. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, there's no way. Like, it didn't compute. And I wouldn't say into his memes as much as many others. I was much more into the utility side of NFTs. I would say I'm a blockchain maxi more so than anything else. Like, I truly do believe in the power of the blockchain to kind of take back ownership, to reset a lot of those things. And so I kind of started to figure out, and then as I started to understand the technology and the layer one that they're building, it started to blow my mind, right? And this project has a lot of different layers to it. The meme coin being kind of the vehicle for technology adoption, as well as being an integrated part on how they're going to deploy the subnets within the AI solution. And then they have the AI coin as well. And so it's, if you look at the two, like, from the Pepe coin, the Pepe, the other Pepe, and then Pepe coin, they're not two in the same, right? One of them is truly just a speculation token, where devs have, sold off. And for me, I don't feel like I have to bash that token to make this one look good. This one looks good on its own. And so it has its layer one, it has its, a mainnet, layer, large language model AI component of it. They're actually going to be burning Pepe coin so that you can actually obtain the subnets and things that are in it. So for me, like, once I got to know the team, once I got to understand the story and realize these guys have been building on, in crypto since 2016, it's kind of a no-brainer. And, I've been all in ever since.
Wow, that's an amazing intro, Fanzo. And I feel like a lot of people need to be enlightened about the actual technology. I feel like people see Pepe or any of the other meme coins that are going crazy, and you think, okay, what are we investing in? Are we just investing in a picture? Are we investing in a meme? And they almost, like, even if there is a technology underneath it, it could be, the next Ethereum. But they sort of write it off because they're like, oh, at least me also as a blockchain fanboy for a long time, you think, okay, if this is the future of finance, then we're going to be looking for like the next Microsoft, or something that has amazing technology. How could this Pepe coin have underlying technology that is the next Microsoft? But from what I understand from what you're saying, they actually do have amazing technology, and a lot of people are just washing over it because they don't take a deeper look.
Yeah, and I think part of it is the market itself, right? As the crypto market and the NFT market and the meme coin market, we've done a really bad job of rewarding innovation. Like if you look at it, like if you were innovative during NFTs, you were dropping utility, and your monkey picture wasn't going up, no one really cared. And I think it's unfortunate that why would companies and developers be inspired of the last 5 or 7 years? There are exceptions to the rule, right? The Ethereums, even for what Doge has done, and a couple of those on that side that have done some really cool, innovative frameworks. But outside of that initial window, a lot of these tools, a lot of these coins, they haven't had the technology, right? And they've raised millions, if not billions, and then are kind of reverse engineering. And I think the neat part with this team is that they launched a layer 1 in 2016. Like I don't know of any I don't know of any other meme coin or most coins that actually have ever launched a layer 1 prior to it being popular. They even had an NFT marketplace, and before NFTs were actually labeled NFTs in the 2016 through 2018, they had their whole NFT marketplace. They understood some of those concepts, but one could argue they were probably also a little bit before their time. And then also, like I said, the utility or the innovation behind it, we've done a pretty bad job as a community, I think, as rewarding it. But I do think we're kind of flipping that, right? And I think part of it now is, like we always say, do your own research, right? And that's a big layer now. But I think if you are doing your research, you want it, to your point, you want to know what are the other components, what else is behind this. And the fact that this team has been building this, and has that experience is what really led me on. And I'll tell you, they dropped the white paper. The white paper is available on the Cornell website. And I mentioned before, I have a decade in cybersecurity experience for the Department of Defense here in DC, a decade traveling the world. And so I sent the white paper out. Like I sent it, I'm not one that, like, I don't believe just because the devs say they've been doing something. And majority of the feedback I was getting was like, well, a lot of them were saying the same thing I did. Wait, meme coin developers are creating this, right? They're like, how is that even possible? And the second, people were saying, if this is truly built on a decentralized framework, this will change the way that we think about AI, especially a decentralized AI approach. And if I had to simplify the technology, and this is as simplified as it gets, the idea of owning our prompts is something right now we aren't even thinking about with AI, right? And I would argue in Web 2, we screwed up, right? Everybody that's listening right now, I'm sure we know, but if you were using an app for free, you were paying with it with your data. And unfortunately, it got so far down the road. Well, how can we pull back our data? Instagram, everyone had our data. And so I think with the blockchain giving us transparency and ownership, the question now becomes, are we going to make the same mistakes we made in Web 2 with the social media apps with AI? Are we going to let AI, decrypt and own our prompts on their servers? Are we going to give up all this information? And so what they're building is this decentralized AI framework using the FHE technology, which FHE isn't like kind of the that isn't the breaking news, right? FHE has been around now for a while. The problem is, how do you scale FHE and make it usable and still productive for things like healthcare, things like university, school systems, all these systems, all the ones right now where you're like, I would love to use AI, but I'm not putting my proprietary data or my users' data or my clients' data on these AI solutions. And so what they've developed is an actual way to wrap that data without decrypting it. So you own your prompts, you own your data, but then you can take advantage of the AI technology that's available. And to me, that is the true essence of decentralization and why many of us love the blockchain. And I think it's exciting to see that we have a decentralized team that's been building in crypto since 2016, actually building that framework, because they live and breathe way more than most of us, even on this idea of what decentralization means. And so, some ask, what is the point of the Pepecoin component, right? And I think one of the questions we have to ask ourselves is, how does technology adoption kind of get integrated into society, or how do you get beta and alpha testers within your community? And right now it's really hard, right? How do you infiltrate new technology? One would say, if you're not Apple, if you're not Amazon, and you're not Microsoft, you probably can't get a very integrating your technology into new communities is really difficult. And I think that's what this team has done really well. And I mean, the tokenomics and game theory was really what attracted me to this project. Like right now we're staking, you can stake your Pepe coin to earn the layer 1 based coin, and you're earning about 500 to 1. So for every day you're earning, for every 500 Pepe coin, you're earning 1 based token. And we've been doing that kind of, a different version of staking since I jumped into the project in January. And so like, not only is it a meme coin, but they have staking. They even built their own operating system. So if you're an older millennial like myself, they actually have an emulated version of Windows XP. So if you go to pepecoin.io, you log into Windows XP and there's a Winamp there for you to go like nostalgia and listen to music. They use this thing called Pepe Paint, where you can actually mint NFTs using the old school Microsoft Paint interface. And there's hundreds of those being pumped out a day within our community. So there's artist onboarding, there's innovation. I mean, for most people, when I'm talking about it, I just say, go to the website and then come back to me and tell me you have a meme coin or an AI coin that has built a website that's better than this. And most people are like, okay, now I'm ready to learn about it, because this team really has kind of taken it to the next level. And I think that's the beauty. Like, this is the utility, and they've already delivered multiple layers of utility. And then we have the test net coming out this month, main net dropping next month, and lots of exciting kind of data points. And I say we, but I'm not on the team, but as a loud bag holder and someone that's really proud to be part of this community, we're an exciting ride for sure.
Yeah, so many amazing points there, Fanzo, to cover. And I did go to the website, and I had that nostalgic feeling. I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm like logging into like old school Windows to see all those other applications. I've been to other meme coin, so to say, project sites, and literally it's just nothing except the contract address and like sending it to buy the token. And there's just like a couple graphics. So it is amazing to see the team has some cool things that they're building, and the history that you talked about with the team, obviously being OGs in around 2016. I'm friends, and I've spoken to even recently some founders on the show that had 2016 OG blockchains, and it's amazing that these teams are still around building, but some of those blockchains, they're sort of getting outdated, or the industry has shifted and moved, and of course AI is a big part of that. But also, the ones that didn't get as deep into DeFi, NFTs, newer blockchains that have better programming languages, faster smart contracts that are a few cents instead of clunky. So the past history needs to also equal present success and future success. I feel like the AI component that you're talking about, it's becoming more of a bigger discussion in, hey, we need a decentralized AI. What the heck's going on in the back of ChatGPT, in that not only is it, where's our data going, but, what is this one source of truth, and, what is the algorithm behind the information that it's feeding us? Is that the correct answer to the question I'm asking? Who's the one who came up with that answer? I feel like it's a very important part of blockchain is going to play an important part in that. So why do you think that the past successes and history of the team will equal the future success of the technology that they're building right now?
Yeah, I love the question. I love the way you frame that up there, right? Because I as a technologist myself, a futurist, one of the things that always scares me is that oftentimes the greatest innovators, the greatest devs get stuck in their ways, right? And it's like my way or the highway, and then they either get out innovated, they get run over. What this team has done in their history, right? They launched a layer 1. Layer 1 was the trend, and they were building on it. They realized, based on the momentum and where things were going, they needed to port over to Ethereum, right? So Pepecoin and basedAI at the moment are both on the Ethereum blockchain, right? So this team has experience being like, hey, we know how to build. The timing right now is telling us we need to be on ETH. And so they had migrated to ETH. And so the fact that it's been on ETH for this last year, to me, was also like, okay, now they're going back and building from scratch kind of their layer 1 now, and they're going to be able to port over, right? We're going to bridge over our basedAI into based. But then Pepecoin is going to be one that's going to be able to be a hybrid, right? It can live on Ethereum, where it will stay for ever, but it also can be bridged over onto the layer 1, so it can be used as a true utility token there as well. And so like that was actually one of my first concerns was like, wait a second, if you've been doing this for like, I mean, I always joke when someone tells me like, IBM was my client for like 7 years. And I always said the thing that every IBMer would tell you about was how long they've been around. And every time they would say that, I would roll my eyes and be like, now I'm even more worried because you're going to be out of touch. You're not going to be knowing what's going on. And so I will say that's the part of this team. And like, there's been a couple of cryptic tweets, and I'm not one, like, this is not financial advice on that side, but like, Vitalik has tweeted out about the Pepecoin alliance. We've had Elon tweet out about basedAI, the idea of basedAI being in a tweet. So there's some like hidden gems and some speculation within the community. And we know for a fact that, Prom, which was one of the original founders of this project, was in the room with Vitalik. That's not even like disputed. I think even helped him buy his first Bitcoin from a Bitcoin ATM, right? From, back in those days. And so like, I think having the history, being nimble and willing to innovate, but also thinking about it from an AI, right? It's one thing to build a layer one blockchain today and understanding mining tokens and some of the game theory. But when you're trying to do it and saying, hey, how can I take privacy and smart contracts and bring that into AI, leveraging the blockchain? To me, this is like that perfect marriage of where innovation is going to thrive. And there are others that are doing this as well, right? I think there's also just this, for me, one of the other things that sticks out is the operating system, right? I mentioned the website. Everything for them is built within an ecosystem for easy onboarding. Like, I love protocols. I'm a big geek on that side, but trying to onboard somebody into a lot of the protocols that are out there today, or a lot of the AI interfaces, or even, I mean, anyone that's bridged tokens or bridged NFTs or staked NFTs, it's a scary experience. And like, we almost every week we have people come in the community like, I'm afraid to stake, and rightfully so. They've had bad experiences, bad websites. They've been hijacked. What this team has done is, because everything is built within the operating system in that stack, everything is done on the website, right? So you go to the farm, you log into the Pepecoin website, the operating system. You go to the app, the farm app, it pops up with the tabs where you're able to stake in there. And so I think some of those things where I think most people do it after the fact, this team has done a really great job. And I say that because I've gone to a lot of my tech friends that are not crypto maxis and have confused as hell that I ran a daily podcast about NFTs in 2021. But what they've always believed in was this idea of innovation around the blockchain. And so the fact that they're building, like, they have the operating system, there's all these these on ramps here. And so I think that kind of like gets me excited on that component as well. And I also say the other thing that always scares me in this space is innovation being driven by the tech or by the speculation in the price. And one thing this team has proven to me is that they don't care. Like, they are going to make sure the technology is done. Now, maybe they're a little bit too much of a perfectionist, and if they're watching this, they know that that's like something that, like, my job is to nudge them and be like, okay, everything doesn't have to be exactly perfect. But what I do love is that they're not allowing, VC investors. I'm part of a couple of whale chats, and this whale group, like, we're helping with the marketing and we're helping with a lot of things like this, like interviews. But the reason we're doing it is because this team has decided long ago they're going to dev and let the dev do the talking for them. So really, many of us took up the marketing aspect. And I will tell you, for me as like a Web3 maxi, I believe this is the coolest part, right? Like, Web 2, we waited around for founders and devs to give us the tools to market it to us, and hopefully they grew. I look at where we're at right now and says, hey, if I have ownership, if I own tokens and I'm staking and I believe in the tech, it's up to me just as much as everybody else to market, to advertise, to onboard. And I think this team has done a really good job of that. And they kind of don't allow us, like, there's plenty of people in the Telegram that are like, when this, and the joke is when the tech is ready. And I think that's an exciting spot to be at right now, especially for a community.
Definitely. No, I completely agree. And I sort of love that your perspective on, the community getting involved. I feel like that's what memes are, and essentially it's this community under a single vision. And it's almost a meme as well that the team doesn't really care about the price. They're just like, just build, ship, ship the product. So that's really great to hear. And on the staking side, you mentioned there's two things that are sort of stuck in my head. Okay, there's staking, and from what it seems like, it's a lot easier and less daunting than people that, maybe they hold some passive coins, but they're not doing DeFi or learning LP, impermanent loss, all that kind of stuff where you have to stake multiple coins and worry about the risk. You can stake it easily. And also the fact that you're in the test net and then moving to the main net. So it feels like it's relatively early on in the grand scheme of things.
For sure. And I think that is the beautiful thing where we're at right now, right? The white paper came out in like the February, March timeframe. And like, I'm all for a great white paper, but let's face it, I've seen a lot of white papers in this crypto world that are full of vaporware and full of nonsense. And so they already rolled out the first test net, took the learnings from the first test net, rolling that in the second test net. And then that's going to allow what they refer to as burning for brains. And so there's 1,024 brains, which are ultimately subnets or licenses to operate within this ZK LLM, this AI layer 1 that they have. And what's beautiful about that is that when I saw the white paper, one of my initial concerns was like, oh, is the meme coin just a vehicle to get people to get the base token, and then the base token takes you further? And it couldn't be further from the truth. Like, throughout the white paper, Pepecoin is used. It's talked about how the burn mechanics are gone through. So they've thought through all of these kind of moving parts. And so the fact that it's depreciating, right? The fact that we are going to burn, and if all 1,024 brains are burnt over time, it would be 76% of the total Pepecoin supply. Between 76 and 80% of the total supply would be burned for the ownership of these individual brains. So even that alone, right? They've thought about the idea of this original token having utility, having the ability to be integrated into the AI, but also it's a beautiful hold for anyone that's jumping in now, knowing that the burn rate's going to go up. And as brains are burned, the price of them, of course, increase over time. And they have a really great interactive chart on the website and things that kind of go through that. But I will say it is an exciting time as well, because the first product they rolled out kind of alongside the AI was this tool called KBot, which is their AI trading bot. And I'll tell you, like, for me, I'm not a huge, like, as much as I'm a futurist, like, bots to me, like, I love automation, but most automation sucks because we as the users of it, the programmers of it, we suck at automating things, right? That's why we have smart speakers that do nothing in our houses, because we haven't figured out like that process. And I'll say the thing that's really neat about this is KBot launched about a month and a half ago with the idea that, hey, it's not usable for trading at the moment, but we are going to train it ourselves. And so there's over 100,000 prompts that have now been training this AI. You can take everything from it. So you can say, if this factor is on CNBC and this is trending on Twitter, and I want to mirror trade against this person, you can do all of that in native language. And what's super cool about that is we are training it ourselves. Unlike, what is OpenAI doing and where are you building on? Like, we are actually building these learning models are by us participating, right? So you don't even have to be a bag holder. You can ultimately, and of course you get rewarded in some points that they have within the KBot side. But I really do respect this idea that if we're going to build something on decentralization and we're going to leverage the principles of decentralization, we should also be ones that are participating on it to help make it as great or as crappy as it can be. And I think that's kind of the beautiful thing about this project is there's artists that are creating art. There are people that are doing prompts within the KBot. There are people that are creating threads and content on a regular basis. And so it does feel like that flow. And one could argue without the meme coin, all of this connection doesn't exist, because you mentioned it before. And I think it's important. I think most meme coins built a network, not a community. And that difference is we have to have a shared purpose and a common goal with an outcome, right? Our common goal is the AI component of Pepecoin. But the idea of what's bringing us together is Pepecoin, the meme, what the meme represents. And I think it's embodied in the team. Like, there's a lot of like inside jokes. The memes are used, like on an everyday basis. And I think that's a beautiful way to kind of onboard people, but also not just onboard. Like, I permanently believe for years to come, Pepecoin is side by side with basedAI as an onboard ramp and as a vehicle for kind of adoption. And that, to me, we'll see, but I believe that's a vehicle to really help adoption in Web3, because we have struggled to get people to use technology. Even one would argue even ChatGPT. How many people got ChatGPT, got excited, saw a TikTok, tried it out a couple of times and have not gone back to it but once or twice, in the last couple of months. And part of that is like you don't have that kind of that bond, right? That team that you're kind of growing it together. And so I think that's what they've done a really good job within this meme coin community itself.
Yeah, very well said, Fanzo. And I feel like there's hundreds of thousands of people that have seen the meme that are thinking there's something in the back of their mind that's like, hey, this is something that I could get involved with, because it sounds like there's just so many different apps or different places to fit yourself into the community. You can find that flow and how you can contribute to the greater picture. So if somebody wants to get started, like say I want to get started, or the viewers, and to find your flow, what's the best way to start? Is it to try the apps that are on the site, check out the staking, learn more about the testnet, and then figure out what resonates with you the most?
Yeah, so I think Pepecoin.io is the best vehicle, right? As soon as you can log in as a guest. You don't even have to connect your wallet. You can log in as a guest and just, browse around. There's a video that pops up by DC Roth that he did a great job of the history of the Pepe, like the origin of there. So definitely that video kind of walks through, and then kind of just clicking through the site. I will say Telegram is extremely active. I asked some of the OGs in the community. Shout out to some of these. I mean, some of these guys have believed in this team since 2016. Like, just to be very clear, like they've gone through and like I went to them. I was like, hey, I need to know why. Like how, I mean, I haven't believed in anything in this space for that long. So for me, and they kept saying like, this team gets it. They're very, so like the team is constantly in the Telegram. I think there's 13,000, 14,000 members in there, but it does feel like, when someone mints a piece of art, it's shared in the community. When someone buys it, we are all cheering each other on. So there's like a very, kind of welcoming feel on that side. And then we're doing every Monday night, myself and Drew Tillity, another one of like the OG, onboarders here. We do a Twitter space and we run it for 2.5 hours, just about every Monday night, usually around 7 p.m. Eastern time. Where we answer every question. We talk about things in the community. We, for the most part, don't have that much more information than the public, but we are eating and breathing, living in the Telegram, on the website. But I definitely say check that out. The white paper, it has a tech lean to it, no doubt. But I would argue, like, I did a couple of videos on my YouTube where I did like a 22-minute breakdown of the white paper. I did an 8-minute breakdown of like 3 things that stood out to me on the white paper, because I think that is the beautiful thing about this community, that I think a lot of people want to simplify some of the complex tech. And I would argue you don't need to be technical to be a part of this community at all. Mm-hmm. And the proof of it is the operating system that exists, right? Like a lot of people, the very first time they've ever staked a token is on this operating system, because they can go to the website, you click a button, it's literally a window from Windows XP that pops up with the tabs, and it says how much you want to do it, you connect your wallet. And so I think you've done a really good job of kind of simplifying it. And for a lot of people, it'll be their first AI token, maybe even their first meme coin. And unfortunately, it's going to ruin them for other meme coins, because when you go to, like you said, some of those other websites, and you have to go to 13 different dApps and 4 different logins, and everything's changing. The beautiful thing they've done is having this base operating system kind of brings everybody on board. So yeah, Pepecoin.io, and the community is we are active on from Telegram. There's Discord. There's also, of course, Twitter as well.
Amazing. So much to digest. I really appreciate the insights into this. There's so much that everyone sees the surface, and they just don't know about all the exciting things that are going on underneath. I appreciate all of this, Fanzo, and I'm going to leave a link to the operating system, to the socials you mentioned in the show notes below, and whatever other important links people can check out so they can get started. And I feel like it's a great time to be paying attention. Whenever something's in testnet, you're sort of getting in before the majority. And if they've been around since 2016, I feel like they're not going anywhere. So yeah, I thank you so much for the time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, and I think the beautiful thing is, if you believe in ownership on the blockchain and you understand the importance of AI, we need this layer to be successful as a society, as a community, to own our prompts, to not allow what happened in Web 2. And the beautiful thing is we got native people in this space that are building it. And I do look at this community as extremely welcoming and a great on-ramp. And I appreciate you having me on, and excited for future conversations.